I extend a hearty welcome to all the esteemed guests who have joined us today. I also extend my warm welcome to respected Chief General Manager Srimati Bhuvaneshwari Madam, respected GM1 Sir Sushil Kumar Sir, GM2 Sir Rajesh Kumar Meena Sir, and also my warm welcome to Shri Harminder Garg Sir, Founder and Chief Mentor of IIFC. Madam, we have got about 154 esteemed clients joined here today. This is for the session on NPS and UPS, ma'am. I leave the floor to you to say a few words, ma'am, before we take it forward.
Thank you. Thank you. I would really appreciate each and every official who has joined here for this initiative. This is one initiative that is taken by our Trivandrum Circle for the central government officers who are our customers. This is part of our wealth management initiative where we do a lot of seminars on different subjects. This subject, we thought one of the officials from the cadre only had called me up just to ask, Madam, what should we do? We should be choosing either this or that. Is there any study analysis from your side? That time I thought maybe if we can give some details from an expert from outside, though I would like to add a disclaimer here, the choice of whether to choose either is your own, and we are only felicitating your decision by being here, giving you, you can make an informed decision. That is what I would like to say. I don't want to be here between you and the expert. We are also very eager to listen to Mr. Harminder Garg, who has been selected by our Corporate Center Wealth team to give you an idea on which could be a better option, so that not only people who are attending the webinar today, the others, you may be able to help the other colleagues, other juniors who may be asking you for some kind of a knowledge on this particular thing. I thank you all for joining us at such a short notice. And because this is one such initiative taken by our circle, I would love to have feedback also from you all. If today may not be possible because we want to leave maximum time to you and Mr. Garg. So I would like to inform that cgm.lho3ra@sba.co.in is my mail ID. If in case we can get, we will put it in the chat also. If we can get any feedback on how this session was, or if you want a repeat session sometime, or any other topic which you want us to do at a later date, we would love to do that also. And thanks for being here, and welcome Mr. Harminder Garg for being here. I request a small introduction on Mr. Garg, and then over to Mr. Garg.
Good evening to all our officials who have taken time and joined this session. So let me take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Harminder Garg, who is here to guide us on which option to choose between UPS and NPS. So Mr. Harminder Garg is the founder and chief mentor of IIFC. IIFC is Indian Institute for Financial Certifications. It's a premier education provider affiliated with FBSB for CFP coaching. Now, after an 18 years corporate career, he launched IIFC, where his mentorship has helped about 575 candidates to clear the CFP certification with a success rate of almost 78%, which will be among the best in the industry, this kind of a success rate. Now, his expertise is beyond his education and all. He was appointed as a retirement advisor by our own Pension Fund Regulatory Authority for 3 years. And then he has guided many seasoned financial professionals throughout his career. Now, he has also contributed to FPSB Board's Knowledge Management Department, focusing on financial planning and content development. Now, a CFP professional by himself and an active member of the CFP community for 20 years, he was honored with the CFP Champion Educator Award in 2024. Now, his industry influence is further evident in his regular contributions to SB magazine, where he shares expert insights on financial planning. Now, academically, he holds a PGDM in finance from IMT Ghaziabad, a PG in financial planning from IIBF, and he has also earned 12 NISM certifications in securities market. Now, this gives an idea as to the kind of knowledge and expert our speaker has. Now, over to you, sir. We are all ears to you for the next 30 to 40 minutes.
Great, so thank you so much, Bhuvaneshwari ma'am and Abhilash, for organizing this session. So this session is, I think, need of the hour, because practically in India, in terms of financial awareness about retirement planning, so the awareness is very less. So generally, central government employees who joined NPS, right? So from the day one, so like in that case, suppose anyone joined in 2010, right? So from 2010 to 2025, right? His regular contribution is going into the NPS, but maybe in the practical scenario, he's not aware about the features of NPS. So my point in this overall session is, first I'll guide you, everyone, that what is NPS, because this UPS is option within the NPS. This is part of the NPS. So most of the provisions are like similar to NPS in case of UPS. So when we understand NPS deeply, then next step is how the UPS is different from NPS. That is one. Then the second part, right, in this scenario, when we understand both the things in detail, and when we do the calculation part, right, because in this case, this, like we CFP professional, this time value of money playing a key role, right? So we have prepared a one sheet in which I'll just show you this sheet, just quickly, that at the end of the session, what's our main objective in this case. So we have prepared this sheet,
Can I interrupt here a minute? Somebody is asking whether you can do a Hindi in between Hindi also, if that is possible.
Yes, it's very much possible. I'll do mix of Hindi and English. So maybe in that case, everybody understood it properly.
Yes.
So I'll try to give a mix of that. So my whole session objective is that first I'll explain about this NPS session, and I am just giving a brief that at the end of that session, our objective is like when at the point of retirement, right? So now you are opting for NPS or UPS option, which is going to happen after 10, 15, 20, maybe in that way, how much the date of retirement is far away from today, right? You need to decide those things as on date. The last date is, as per the government notification, is 30th June 2025. So it is very difficult. So we try to do the number calculations, right? In which we will just, from your side, we will share this sheet later on for everyone's benefit. Where you need to just put down your numbers, like your existing NPS corpus, what's your date of joining, and when you, in that case, what is your current basic salary, what is your DA, right? In this case, just putting on these numbers, and you will come to know at the end of retirement how much the payout will be in case of NPS, in case of UPS, which will help you to take better decision. So decision is lying with you, but now currently, without knowledge, without awareness, it's like subjective to gamble, that we are not clear what will happen in future. You need to just project on, right? In this case, what would be your salary growth, right? That is one major thing you need to project, because in the last 15 years, right, for class one officers, we have calculated that the average growth is around between 9 to 10%. So the basic salary plus DA, if anyone joined in 2010 till date, the growth in the basic, the question mark is that down the line, right, how much growth will be happen in the coming years, right? Because that depends upon the economic factors, inflation, on a lot of other aspects. So that's a just quick summary, quick teaser, I think I just gave a brief about that. In this session, we will cover all these aspects which leads to understand this sheet, because I make you understand that after in this case, when you complete this overall session, how you can decide the this particular option in this case. Then first, I think I'll start this session. I'll just give a brief about this thing. Before 2004, there is a defined benefit scheme for all government employees. There is a OASIS project. Due to that, 2004, government introduced NPS scheme, which shifted from defined benefit, where the employer is solely responsible for the pension post-retirement, to defined contribution scheme, where employer and employee both contribute for their retirement corpus, and down the line from that corpus, they will get their post-retirement annuity in this case. So in this format, when we understand from 2004, now in 2025, so government introduced another option, that those who are having who are having central government employees, they can opt for UPS or NPS, any one option. Accordingly, the main part is that they will get some guaranteed pensions post-retirement. So how this numbers, the post-guaranteed pension will work, that we will discuss. But for that, eligibility criteria is, right, minimum 10 years of service. And the second main criteria is this minimum, in this case, 10 years of service, and minimum 25 years of service to eligible for this guaranteed pension. So that is the second criteria, because service period is minimum 25 years, right? That is the requirement. If anyone leaves the government job before 25, in that case, in case of like voluntary retirement, that is considered as resignation. So that minimum eligibility criteria for avail this guaranteed pension is 25 years. So these two eligibility criteria, I think one is the main focus area. Then in the first slide, I just want to cover what is the difference in NPS and UPS till retirement. So when I'm discussing till retirement, in contribution phase, like in this case, employee contribute 10% of basic NDA and government contributes 14% of basic NDA. But in case of UPS, there is a little difference in this case. In case of UPS, employees' contribution is same. But in case of employer's contribution, the contribution is restricted to 10% only instead of 14%. That is the first difference in between, because if the government will contribute less in your UPS, then down the line at the time of retirement, the corpus will be lesser in that case. So आपका in this case UPS format में इसमें 10% of basic जो इसका है वो contribution में 10% जाएगा. Government want to take a cushion that down the line, if government need to pay the guaranteed pensions, for that there is a 8.5% money, right? So there is a pool fund created. So you will not get anything from that 8.5% directly. So your contribution is only of this 10% in this case. Rest, this 8.5% down the line, if maybe there is a probability that there is a shortfall in giving the pension, then government will utilize that that corpus. Rest, you will not get anything on retirement in that case. So that is the first part in this case. In this scenario, apart from contribution phase, this 4% difference, if you are going through this NPS or in case of UPS, almost all provisions are same. Like the second slide, which I want to highlight in this case. In this slide, I just want to highlight that in case of government employees, most of the employees are not aware that there is a auto choice option available. Whenever any government employee joins, by default, he knows that his contribution will be parked to the default fund option. By default fund option. But in 2020, so PFRDA changes the regulations and allow this this scheme of LC50. So I'll just give a brief about this. What is this LC50? So LC50 is like there is a auto choice option. In this case, LC50 is in which your up to 50% contribution move to equity part. So already the corpus which you have already built in, right, till date, that will be lying in only as per the default scheme provisions. But in this, in case you want to change your option, so suppose if anyone is having an age of 35, so we, in this case, in NPS, you can opt for 50% equity option. There is a 25 or there is a 50. There are two options. There is a conservative 25 and there is a moderate 50 option. In these two options, the structure is like that automatically every year there is a in 50. Next year you are from 35 onward. In the 36th year, there is a 2% less equity contribution. So your asset allocation will change to 48% equity, right? In similar way, at the age of 40, so your 10% equity contribution will be reduced. So that contribution will be 40%. By default, this option which is given in this normally where everyone is contributing, right? Where there is a 15% equity option is there. Where the contribution is 50, but 15% by default is going into equity. I just want to show one or two circulars for this, like so for your better understanding. So this is the first circular on asset allocation, which is released by PFRDA on 1st June 2020. In this circular, what options and what major changes applicable to the government employee? The first change they introduced in 2020, right? There is a like first we are discussing about that this is default scheme. So default scheme is like your contribution will be divided into 3 pension fund managers and LIC, UTI, and SBI. So your fund, and they will manage your fund. But in this case, the management of fund is as per the allocation to equity. So whatever you are contributing in this, your 15% portion is moving to the equity. So I'll just, for example, I'll just want to share that in case of this one SBI pension funds, so the money which you are contributing, in this case, if you are opting for this default scheme, in case you are contributing to the default scheme, your 15%, this, I think it's little, just one second, I'll just try to highlight this. In the default option, thus for this central government employee, the corpus will be allocated around 15 to 16%. So this is, which is parked to equities by default. Anyone who joined, so their returns will be depend on this automatically on that 16% is on equity side, right? But you can enhance this, which I already discussed with you, by opting for this. I'll just move to that part. Just give me 1 second. So I'll just try to give this with the literature because this will make more sense that you study the relevant papers. So we will, down the line, we will share these all documents for your reference, which will help you to authenticate whatever we are talking. So in this case, there is one scheme by default scheme. So there is another scheme. If anyone as a government employee want to opt for only that portion, so he don't want to take single penny risk. So that person has an option to move 100% corpus into government security. That is the second option, scheme G. Then there are two most interesting options. So globally, if you see the BlackRock, they have their target investment plan, which is exactly same like this auto life cycle schemes. So if you look after the US market or in that way, the major corpus of BlackRock is in these retirement funds, is in these auto choice option funds. So Government of India through PFRDA has launched these funds. But due to less awareness, in that case, due to less awareness, people are not opting for this. So my point is this, then in this case, in case of conservative, right, you have option to invest up to 25% equity. And if you opt for this moderate cycle, so it start from, anyone from less than 35 age, he can invest 50% of equity. Starting from 35, this equity portion will be reduced by 2%, right? Because so in this case, these are the options, and government also give this flexibility that I am not bound to opt for only these government LIC, UTI, SBI. I can change my fund manager also. I have full flexibility to move to any fund manager. That flexibility is also there for any central government employee. So this is just a brief that what are options in available, right? So in this case, I'll just again move to this slide. So in this case, so whatever the options which we have discussed in NPS, the same options are applicable in UPS. There is no change. So there is a default option. In default option, down the line, we will discuss as a benchmark fund, which we will discuss later on. So similar, there is, my point is, you can, if you go by NPS or UPS, there is no difference in terms of asset management, right? The investment strategies or investment funds available in both cases, there is exactly same. So that is second slide. I think in this case, I discussed about this flexibility in investment. Now we move to the retirement phase. So we discuss that how the contribution will happen, how the in this accumulation phase, that this pre-retirement.
Your line is choppy. Just a minute, we'll get him back.
Then we will discuss about in this case about that in this case about UPS. So the first point, in case of NPS, anyone who withdraw their corpus before the age of 60, in case of NPS, he can withdraw maximum 20%, and for remaining 80%, he has to buy annuity. This is for NPS who withdraw before the age of 60. At the age of 60, the option is he can withdraw 60% as a corpus tax-free, right? So this option is available in NPS. In case of UPS, I think withdrawal part we will discuss, then we discuss about the remaining 40 part in later part. In case of UPS, how it is different? And in case of UPS, there is a concept of benchmark corpus. So like an example we will take in this case to explain this, to understand this in a better way. I'll take one example. So suppose a person who opt for NPS and at the age of retirement, there is a two type of corpus. So one corpus is default corpus, and there is another corpus which we opted by my choice, maybe by opting LC50 or LC25. So this second option is we will say individual corpus. So in this case, suppose we take an example that in this case, anyone has a balance of at the time of 60, there is a balance of 3 CR in 3 CR in default corpus, there is a balance, right? And first, I think default corpus we discussed about, and UPS is case me. First, we will discuss. Just give me 1 second. I think we need to explain both differently. So I think I'll do it in 2 parts. First, we will discuss this UPS. I think इस case में मेरे को पहले UPS ये लिख दिया है. I think we covered the NPS first. So in the case of NPS, so suppose my corpus is 3 crore, I can withdraw 1.8 crore. So whatever option I opt, that thing make no difference in. So if I opt for default option LC25, LC50, I can withdraw 60% in case of NPS. But in case of UPS, it is different in this case. So suppose in case of UPS, there is a default corpus of 3 crore, and by opting this LC50, right? Maybe your return will be suppose 3.8 crore because you invested more in equity. Due to that, your contribution will be more in this case. So 3.8 crore. So in this case, first thing is you can withdraw this 3 crore may say 60%, right? So 1.8 crore at the time of retirement in UPS, same provision. Plus, in this case, you can withdraw this 80 lakh rupees, which is over the benchmark return. If you get to that, you can additionally withdraw in the case of UPS. So this is the first difference we need to understand, that in case of UPS, if you are opting for equity options, if the corpus is on higher side, the difference amount between the default corpus. So in the UPS, we use this term benchmark corpus for this default corpus. So if I make more money by investing in equity, I can withdraw at the age 60. But in any case, if the equity markets not performed the default corpus, in that case, my down the line pension will be reduced accordingly. So if my corpus will be less, then accordingly my pension will be reduced accordingly. That is the scene in this case. But definitely in the such longer period of time, I think equity allocation will get good amount of return. So that is the overall aspect we can discuss. So I discussed about in case of what is happening NPS. I discussed that what is the difference, what is the benchmark corpus, which is by default 15% equity corpus. And second is individual corpus. If you are opting for LC 50 or 25, the additional amount you make in this period, you can withdraw at the time of retirement. So that is the one part I think in this case. Just for further knowledge, in case of both UPS or NPS, subscriber is eligible to do partial withdrawal for their self-contribution up to 25% of their self-contribution. So suppose if anyone has contributed, suppose for any value, suppose 1 crore is a self-contribution in the NPS or in UPS. So I am eligible to withdraw 3 times during my service, 25% of the self-contribution with the growth. So that is the another withdrawal option is available, both same. There is no difference in case of UPS, in case of NPS, partial withdrawal provisions are same in this case. So after this point, now I move to the next part in this case. Just give me 1 second. So we discussed about this part, that how the lump sum will happen in this case. We move to the next part. Before that, there is another option. So this is like we discussed on potential wala. There is one more thing which is available in UPS, which is not there in NPS. In case of UPS, right? So there is one extra corpus we already discussed that you can withdraw at retirement. There is another thing in this scenario in UPS for every 5 years of service. So suppose you work for 30 years. So at the time of retirement, whatever your basic salary and DA is there, you will get 6 months salary in lump sum. In NPS, you will not get any additional benefit. But in case of UPS, if you work for 30 years, for every 5 years, 1 month salary. So suppose you work for 30 years, 6 months salary, additionally lump sum you will get at retirement. So that is another benefit in this retirement. Now, I think now this case may the remaining 40% is now we need to discuss. Now, in case of NPS, what is the situation? In case of NPS, after withdrawal of that 60%, you have to mandatorily purchase an annuity for remaining 40%. And in that case, we recommend that you should go for the annuity option with return of purchase price. As on date, with the like LIC plans, if you invest 1 CR and you will get 7 lakh rupees annually, and the case of demise, you will get 1 crore to your spouse in this case. So in the NPS, if you are opting for NPS option, if you are opting for this 40% with return of purchase price, so whatever you invest, you will get annuity of 7%. And at the end, in case there is a demise of the pensioner, the spouse of that person will get the return of purchase price. This has happened in the NPS scenario. In case of UPS, so like you have, what's the scenario in case of UPS? Just I'll give a brief on this. I'll just take this slide's help in this case. So in case of UPS, the scenario is like if you are investing in case of UPS, so suppose your salary is as on date is suppose 2 lakh rupees, right? So basic plus DA, as on date your salary is 2 lakh rupees, and you need to, and your service is suppose as on date 20-year service is remaining as an example. So now this 2 lakh, and suppose I am assuming that the average growth rate is, suppose there are 2-3 things whenever you are calculating the annual growth in salary. So there is a one component is a grade 6 grade pay hike. There is a second element DA. And I think there is a third element whenever there is, you will get promotion, and or maybe there is some pay commission applicable, pay commission or promotion, then you will get a decent hike in that way. So if we compile all these three, maybe we can take a band of 8 to 9%. So in this case, 8% hike. So 2 lakh rupees current salary. So in this case, we need to calculate. So this 2 lakh 8%, and after 20 years, what would be my salary? I'll just calculate. Just give me 1 minute. I'll try to do this. So in this case, 2 lakh rupees if I am having salary as on date, and I am assuming 8% growth rate. These formula you need not to remember. I'm just trying to figure out that how much money will be there. So at the 8% growth after 20 years, the salary will be 9,32,191. So this is just a number which I am going to explain you down the line. So this 9,32,000 salary as per this 8% growth rate. That growth rate you need to assume that is not in my hand. So that is individual justification that in which grade you are, accordingly maybe whatever salary growth you are expecting. But this 9,32,000 when you are going to retire, you will get guaranteed pension, this 932. So first, I think in this case, 932, in this case, the eligible pension is 50% of the last drawn average of last 12 months drawn salary. So if this is the scenario that I have a 9,32,000 salary, so I am able to get 4,66,000, right? Till the time I am alive. Then there is also family pension in this, right? So I have an option. If I want to take this full amount, I can take this as a full amount. If I want 100% this pension guaranteed, I don't want to withdraw anything. So I am eligible for this 4,66,000 as a pension, right? But in this case, if you opt to withdraw 60%, right? So I need to multiply this by 60%. Sorry, in this case, I withdraw 60%. So remaining is 40%. You will get as a pension. So that totally depends upon you. If you want complete pension for the corpus, you can avail this. But I think generally we will withdraw this amount, 60% withdraw. So in this case, 1,86,438 in this practical example, you will get as a pension, which is subject to DA. You will get DA along with this, and that will be in this scenario. So this is the first case. If after the death of the, if we, this 186 is a 40% of pension. So suppose in case there is a demise of the pension holder, then the spouse of that pension holder will get further last withdrawn. So suppose whenever the death will happen, in this case, 60% of the last pension will be given to the spouse till he or she alive in this case. So that is the provision for family pension in this. Okay, so I think we covered this, that how this pension will calculated in this case. And on the other side, in case of NPS, you will get guaranteed and you will get annuities with return of purchase price. So in case of UPS, which we have discussed till now, in case of UPS, which we discussed till now, there is no return of purchase price. So whatever there is a remaining 40% corpus in case of pension holder and spouse death, then post that there is no refund of money. So maybe if that depends that how much period they survive in this case, right? So that's the concept in this. I just move to the next slide in this case. So we covered this, that how this annuity options are in this applicable. We covered all these things, how pension is determined, that I also covered. Right. So now I think in this case, now we will move to the sheet. We covered the content part. What is the logical concepts behind the preparation of this sheet, right? Then I think first I move to this calculation sheet. Just give me 1 second. So this is very interesting sheet which we prepared. I think this will help you little bit that how to take this decision. So this is the last phase. I think in this case, post that we will discuss Q&A of yours, right? So we will discuss question and answer. Maybe you can park your questions in the chat box and post this sheet. We will discuss on that. So in this example, I take an example that any government employee, the class A cadre employee joined in 2009. And in this case, currently he's having a corpus of 63 lakh, right? His monthly basic is 1,34,500 and 56% DA is 75,000. So total monthly salary is 2,09,000. In this case, right, so we first calculate that like we calculate earlier. So in this case, if the salary is 2,09,000, after 17 years of service, the salary will be 7,76,000. So now when we calculate this thing, so I think now we need to understand at the age of 60, because in this case, the existing corpus is same when anyone is opting for UPS, but in case of NPS, the annual contribution is 6,04,000 because here is a 24%. In case of UPS, the contribution is less, it's 5,03,000. Then in this case, there is first concept which comes into picture in case of UPS, that by default, anyone is opting for this, what is the benchmark corpus? So I already explained it to you that benchmark corpus is basically that from the backend, by taking notional NAVs of those default corpus, they calculate that what would be at the 15% that the default corpus, what would be the value at the time of retirement. So benchmark corpus ki value hai 4,73 lakh in case of UPS. So there is no benchmark corpus concept in case of NPS. Then in this case, individual corpus, in both the scenarios, if we see in individual corpus, so this is in case of NPS, because the contribution is on a higher side, you will get 6,19 lakh. And in case of UPS, you will get 5,58 lakh because the contribution amount is in this case is 20% and in this case it's a 24. So this is the difference between individual corpus between NPS and aapka UPS. So in case of UPS, in this particular case, the pension holder will get 51 lakh as a salary additional payout, right? Which is not applicable in case of NPS. In UPS, 1 month salary for every 5 years of service, which is in totality at the time of retirement, it is 51 lakh rupees in lump sum. Then for withdrawal, the withdrawal will be higher in case of NPS amount withdrawal, because in this case 60% amount is 3,71 lakh, and in case of this UPS, this 60% on this benchmark corpus, because additional amount you already withdraw. So 60% is 2,80 lakh. So in this case, there is a difference of 87 lakh in withdrawal of lump sum from NPS at the age of 60, and in case of UPS. So there is a 87 lakh less corpus withdrawal in case of less corpus withdrawal in case of UPS, right? So this is the first aspect where we reach in this case. In case of UPS, which we discuss now, right? In this case, you will get this, which we discussed, that an additional corpus. So individual corpus minus benchmark corpus, you will get additional 85 lakh. So technically, in the lump sum 60, you are getting 87 lakh less, but you will get 85 lakh almost equal as a outperformance corpus. It's little bit technical. I think it takes time maybe to understand this in detail, but we try to figure it out that maybe in a very simpler format, that in this case, how the calculations will happen in this case. So now the summary is that in this case, we make a summary in this case, like as show, at the time of difference, in case of UPS and NPS, in case of UPS, you will get 1 crore 36 lakh, right? In the form of assured lump sum payout for salary and outperformance corpus. So 1 crore 36 lakh, right? So in this case, we calculate this, that 87 NPS we got, but in this case, UPS we got 1 crore 36. So net, in case of UPS, you will get 48 lakh more with the numbers we have presumed in this case. In case of UPS, at the time of retirement, you will get 48 lakh more because you are getting a higher outperformance in one shot. And then another part is assured lump sum payout. So this is the scenario. Now in post this, I think this is further, we need to, now we are now concluding to that stage, that how this both option actually impact post-retirement. So I think in this case, in NPS, I have 2 crore 47 lakh rupees to purchase annuity. When I purchase this annuity, I'll get back on the demise of the pension holder. This total 2 crore 47 lakh will be given to the spouse of that pension holder. That is applicable in case of NPS, right? So we calculate. So now we need to check that. So that now in this case, annuity rate we take as 5%. So just take a background of this annuity rates. I think in 15-20 years back, when we check about the annuity rates, the rate of interest is around 9%. So repo rate, reverse repo rate is 2% on a higher side. If we go by 10-15 years further back, then the rate of returns are 10 to 11%. So gradually when we move forward, and like Amrit Kal or as a developed nation, the rate of interest will be reduced going forward, right? So now after 15-20 years, if I am projecting a annuity, so that annuity I can't assume more than 5%, right? So as on date, the annuity rate is 7%, but that's your choice, how much you want to assume, 5%, 5.5%, 6%, that is totally up to you, right? But we take a number of 5%, I think maybe, which is, I think, as a rational number, down the line 20 years, what would be we are projecting in terms of annuity in India with return of purchase price. So ये हमने यहाँ पे calculate किया, तो इसमें मेरी NPS की pension यहाँ पे अभी post retirement, I'll just calculate that if anyone survives till age 80. So we just calculate this sheet. So anyone survives, like in this case, as an example, at the age of 2042, he will be at 60 age. So as per this calculation annuity, right? Annuity 5%, he will get 12,39,812 from NPS. But in case of UPS, right? His pension is not static. That will be inflation adjusted with DA, right? So as per this calculation, right? I think 18,63,000. This 18,63,000 is the pension amount. And I assume that this pension, in this case, the growth rate of pension post-retirement, right? I assume the DA will be 5% annually, which is on a conservative side, I think, in this case. So in case of NPS, there is no growth in this NPS pension, it is fixed. But in case of UPS, your pension will be increased by every year DA. So this is every year, if we assume that 18 lakh will be down the line after 10-15 years become 35 lakh. because every year with the change in DA, the pension will be increased in this case. So that is the difference. So what we calculate in this case as a just a for the sake of calculation, that I am getting in the first year with these numbers 6,23,000 as a additional amount in case of UPS. So suppose I presume that amount, if I get additional, because in this case, in case of NPS, anything which I am getting will be received at the time of death, not now. So I think if we want to compare apple with apple, so I need to reinvest it with a very conservative rate. So to check that actually how much is the difference in this case. So I assume the rate of 6%. So if I assume the 6% growth rate on this 6,23,000, I assume that whatever I get additional, I invest at a 6% rate per annum. So in this case, this amount will be which you accumulate, right? So in this case, at the age of roughly at the age of 70, in this case 70 or 71 in this case, that depends upon the assumption. So roughly it took 12 years. It took 12 years to get back, if to get back your the money, right? Because in case of UPS, if anyone dies, then first there is a family pension, but in case of UPS there is a family pension, but on the other side NPS there is a complete payout. So which is, I think you need to compare this thing in this way, right? So ये जो हमारा लास्ट वाला फेज है अभी कि एक एंड में लाइन अगर मैं आई जस्ट स्पीक इन इंग्लिश एंड हिंदी इन बोथ for the sake of anyone's understanding, right? That anyone who is opting for these options, right? If he survives till the age of 72, right? So there is like a break-even point, ठीक है? अगर एक certain age से ज्यादा वो alive रहता है, तो in that case, UPS will be favorable. और अगर किसी की डेथ 72 से पहले हो जाती है, तो NPS is favorable. अगर किसी को ये वाले जो पॉइंट हम जो डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, आप नंबर्स पे प्ले करके देखोगे ना, बड़ा जबरदस्त नंबर पे बात आ रही है इस पे. ये नंबर पे देखोगे, अगर किसी को लगता है कि वो 80 ईयर तक जिएगा, तो जहां पे वो एनपीएस में अपने बच्चों के लिए इस केस में 2 करोड़ छोड़ के जा रहा है, इन दिस केस इफ ही सर्वाइव्स टिल 80, तो इन केस ऑफ यूपीएस ही विल लेफ्ट विद द 6 करोड़ मनी. जितना वो लंबा जिएगा उतना उसके लिए यूपीएस फेवरेबल है. और अगर वो दैट इज प्योरली इंडिविजुअल कॉल, राइट? हाउ मच ही इज एक्सपेक्टिंग, है ना? कि मैं तो बड़ा ये ना नंबर्स पे प्ले करने पे हमें इसको समझ में आया, आई थिंक इन दिस केस, कि एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम से पहले डेथ होने पे एनपीएस इज फेवरेबल, एंड इन केस ऑफ एक सर्टन एज के बाद यूपीएस इज नाउ गेटिंग फ्लेवर इन दिस केस. So that is your option. Sometime whenever you are taking decisions, as of now, you need to take health consideration also something into picture, right? Right. And the last point, I think in this case, I just want to cover that before 60, if anyone having a thought, right? He want to leave the job before, in this case, before 60, right? In that case, for that person, I think in any way, NPS is better. So this UPS scheme is better who want to work for like in this case, for a complete period, and then he has projection that he will survive for a longer period of time, right? So that's all from my side. I think I'll try to cover all the aspects. Definitely we will share the recording of this session because it's a little technical session. It's very difficult to absorb in this 40 minutes for a finance professional. Maybe you are handling different type of roles to understand these terms. But still, I feel if you go through the session again or you understand the basic terms, this overall session will help you to decide better that which one is suitable for you, NPS or UPS, right? So let's move to the, I think maybe some of you have put their question in the chat box. In this case, I'll just check it in this case. So Abhilashi, maybe how we can answer, in this case, so we can allow someone who want to. So I think that's all from my side. We can open for the Q&A session. So we have Ankit Jindal ji also with us. He is also a government employee and expertise in this subject, right? So welcome, Ankit. So maybe I think you can join with me if anyone has any queries to answer those queries. Welcome, Ankit ji. So इस case में Abhilash ji, how we need to move forward in this case? Just guide me in this case. How to take this question answers in this case?
Wait,
Start.
now, now,
Yeah.
mic is on now.
Okay. There are some questions already put on the chat, so we can start with that.
Can you read out the question for us?
Yeah, we can see controls.
So I'll take one by one. I think those relevant questions in right. So in this case, I think cover. I'll answer these queries.
I just read some of the questions. If you don't mind,
Yes, Ankit, that would be great in this case. Yes.
तो काफी सारे लोग पूछ रहे हैं कि अगर 60 के पहले हमने जॉब से रिजाइन करा, so when you are yourself calling it as a resignation, so in case of resignation there is a different criteria. So in case of resignation, anyone who is resigning either after 20 years of service or 30 years of service or 40 years of service, so resignation के केस में whatever amount you have accumulated as a corpus, उसका केवल 20% ही हम मैक्सिमम विड्रॉ कर सकते हैं. रिमेनिंग 80% का आपको एन्यूटी बाय करना पड़ेगा एज यू हैव टू डू इन द केस ऑफ एनपीएस. मतलब आपने चाहे यूपीएस के अंदर हैं या एनपीएस के अंदर हैं, अगर आपने जॉब से रिजाइन कर दिया, यू हैव नॉट टेकन द वीआरएस, यू हैव रिजाइन फ्रॉम द जॉब, तो आपको 20-80 रूल एप्लीकेबल होगा, जहां पे आप मैक्सिमम 20% ही विड्रॉ कर पाओगे और 80% के लिए आपको एन्यूटी बाय करना पड़ेगा. इट इज सेम इन बोथ एनपीएस एंड यूपीएस. और वीआरएस का क्राइटेरिया क्या है जिन लोगों को लग रहा है? सो अंडर एनपीएस यू कैन टेक वीआरएस आफ्टर 20 years of service, and under UPS you can apply for VRS after 25 years of service. तो आप ये इस क्राइटेरिया को ध्यान में रखिए. सो व्हेन समवन रिजाइंस तो उसका ग्रेचुइटी पे भी इफेक्ट आता है. व्हेन समवन रिजाइन सो आपको ग्रेचुइटी एप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा. व्हेन समवन रिजाइन जो आपको 300 लीव एनकैशमेंट मिलता है वो भी हाफ हो जाता है. तो इफ समबडी इज लुकिंग इन अ फेवर ऑफ मतलब आपको रेजिग्नेशन का केस कोई सोच रहा है तो वो बहुत ध्यान से सोचिए. मतलब मेरे पास में काफी क्वेरी आए जहाँ पे 18 years ऑफ सर्विस कंप्लीट हो गए हैं, दे आर अंडर द एनपीएस and they are looking forward to take resignation. So my suggestion, if you are near completing 20 years and you are thinking of VRS, just complete 20 years of service, try to get the VRS so that आपका leave encashment of 300 days complete हो और आपको gratuity भी मिलेगा. So उन सब cases में NPS with VRS will be better. So एक ये सभी का I think query था. Sir, now if you want to add something, Harminder sir, in this.
Great. So I think one more thing, I think just for everyone's benefit, recently, I think we have faced one 2-3 days before, there is this circular. So in case of anyone dies during the service or there is a disablement, in that case, in case of NPS or UPS, in both the scenarios, if anyone opting for, you need to fill 2 forms, right? If you fill those 2 forms, you are eligible for old pension scheme benefits. So that is one of the very important thing for everyone. If anyone is in a government service and in this scenario, in case there is a death during the service or disablement, in this case, if anyone filled form 1 or form 2, then in that case, that person will get old pension benefits, right? So this is one thing. I think this question is answered. Maybe if you have any doubts, you can raise your hand also. We have 10 minutes. I think we'll take your queries in the next 10 minutes. So it's very clear that in case of someone asks 60% withdrawal, so whatever content in PPT or recording we will share with you, that is all authentic content. So don't worry about this. You are allowed to withdraw 60% in case of UPS. Okay. So just one second.
और ये जो सर ने अभी बताया कि इन केस ऑफ डिसेबिलिटी और इनकेपेबिलिटी और इन सर्विस, सो दोज हु आर एबल टू सर्च इन दिस फॉर्म, सो आप एनपीएस रूल्स 2021 है, उसमें अंडर रूल 10 फॉर्म 1 एंड फॉर्म 2 आपको मिल जाएगा. So either you are going to opt for NPS or you are going to opt for UPS. So these 2 forms are mandatory for एनी इंडेमिनिटी, मतलब आपको कुछ भी ऐसा लाइफ रिस्क कभी भी होगा, वो किसी को पता नहीं चलता. इट्स काइंड ऑफ अ इंश्योरेंस फॉर एवरी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय. तो वो तो मैंडेटरीली जिन्होंने भर रखा है वो मतलब नहीं भर रखा है, दे शुड फाइल इट, और आप अपने डीडीओ या पीओ के पास जाके वो सबमिट कर दें और उसको अपनी सर्विस बुक में तो जरूर प्लेस करा दें कि अगर ऐसा भी कुछ सिनेरियो होता है. सो ओल्ड पेंशन स्कीम तो आपको मिलेगा ही, उसके साथ में जो आपका सेल्फ कंट्रीब्यूशन जा रहा है 10% एवरी मंथ, दैट विल ऑल्सो बी रिटर्न बैक टू दी पेंशनर्स फैमिली. मतलब जो जिनका डिमाइस हो गया जिस भी एम्प्लॉय का, उनके फैमिली को वो अमाउंट भी रिटर्न हो जाएगा. सो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट विच वी नीड टू टेक केयर.
In this case, this is very important discussion that which option we need to choose. So our session objective is here is just to facilitate you that in case of NPS, what are the provisions? In case of UPS, what are the provisions? So that is, you need to calculate that what salary growth you are projecting. So we will share this sheet with you, right, in the format, some of the format with some fixed cell. You just need to put down your values. You will get to know that what would be the projected scenario in that case, right? This and that decision is lying with you in that case, and no one can help you in that case because that's an individual decision. But definitely 2-3 main key takeaways from this, that if anyone is not opting for UPS, that person must look after this LC50 or LC25 option where they can monthly basis contribute more in equity, which will in longer term help them to get a bigger corpus. That is one thing which is very much sure, that you can look for that LC50 option in your normal NPS also. Maybe your money is going to this by default option. That is one key takeaway, I think, apart from the whole discussion, right? And second thing which we discussed, that anyone who is in service, that person must file this form 1 and 2 to avail the old pension scheme benefit, even in case of NPS and UPS, in case of demise or disablement during the service. These two additional key takeaways, I think you must remember and do a active execution on that. So thanks a lot. I think we try to answer most of the questions. So in this case, over to Abhilash, if you have, you just conclude this
yeah.
session, or ma'am, in this case.
1 minute, Mr. Garg. One of the
Yes.
questions that I saw is they were asking if after the 60% out of the 40% which you are choosing annuity, whether it can be a deferred annuity or you have to choose annuity at the age when you take the 60%. That was one of the questions. So is
So,
there a
ma'am,
possibility that the rest of the 40 is earning you and you choose to take a lump sum instead of annuity at a later stage?
So in case of NPS provision, there is a provision of maximum 3-year deferment. So at the vesting age, if I don't want immediate, I can defer that option for 3 years. Like in case of NPS, if you don't withdraw complete 60% at one go, maybe the markets are not favorable, you have option to withdraw that NPS 60% corpus in phases till 75. You can withdraw as a SWP format from that NPS 60%. For remaining 40%, the maximum time lag that you have, that 3 years as per the NPS provisions.
Right. Okay. So we have to conclude the session. I am sorry, many of you have many questions. What we can do is you may connect with the relationship manager who brought you to this webinar. That is the first point of contact. That relationship manager will talk to Mr. Garg and to Abhilash, to us, and get you back with whatever you want. That is number one. As Mr. Garg has happily said that he will share this sheet and also the recorded message, we will take that and through our relationship managers, which we will share with you. That who have brought you here would be the correct contact point for you, sir, and all of us will get back to you with whatever you want through the relationship managers. And thanks for being here. Thank you, Mr. Garg. It was a wonderful session. We really wish it could have been a longer one so that all their questions could have been answered. Recorded version, we will collect from Mr. Garg and send it through our relationship managers. Please be in touch with them.
So thank you so much.
Right.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you.